like a river, it flows so free, out from the heart of infinity. Oh, blessed Spirit, flow for thee. Peace like a river, peace like a river, peace like a river to him who believes. Peace to the heart that the Savior receives. Peace to the spirit that sorrow can breathe. Peace like a river, peace like a river. Peace like a river, it floweth always, taking the darkness as fair as the day. Peace like a river, oh weary one pray. Oh, peace like a river, peace like a river. Peace like a river, oh weary one pray. Peace like a river, peace like a river, peace like a river, peace like a river.
Thank you. Please be seated. If this is your first time here, would you please stand and tell us your name? No, we have some.
I'm Rick Phillips.
I'm Shannon.
Hi,
Nice
Greg.
to have
Hi,
you.
And we've discovered that Rick and Shannon live in Bulverde too, just like Marlon. Inside your bulletin, you will find a prayer request form for any prayer requests you may have. You can drop them in the offering basket later and they will be put with other prayer requests. Our own prayer team prays over them for a week, and they are also sent to Silent Unity, where they are prayed over for a month. We invite you to visit our UCB Honor Library in the Sunshine Room next door. Maria and Tom have been redoing it to make checking out and returning books easier. To check out a book, see the shelf by the door at the front of the building for directions. Just fill out the card that is located inside each book and place it in the basket for library cards. Return books, thereby placing them in the basket labeled for returns. There is a third basket on the bottom shelf for any books you want to donate to the library. If you need help, ask someone in that room before service or after church. We have added a space for usher on our sign-in sheets under the bulletin board. If you can help, volunteer any one Sunday a month for worship assistant, opener at 9 a.m., daily word reader, or usher to pass the offertory bag, please sign up and we will remind you the Thursday prior to the Sunday. We do not currently have anyone signed up for the ushers for the month of June, July, and August.
June is full.
June is full. Daily word booklets are on the desk by the door for May and June. Please feel free to take one at no charge. We are always collecting dry goods, toiletries, etc. to pass on to the various Bernie groups to help those in need. There is always a container by the front door each week where you can put in any donations.
Fill it up. Fill it up.
Yeah, fill it up. Please join us for lunch after the service at El Rio. More information is in your OOS insert. If you want to join us and have not told Ann King, please do so immediately after church so we can adjust the number we reserved for it. Sunday morning book discussion is every Sunday from 9:30 to 10:30 in the fellowship room. Come for coffee, tea, and stimulating conversation. We are currently reading and discussing Radical Forgiveness. If you are here for the first time or if you're not getting our weekly emails, we have a sign-in sheet on the desk by the front door. And if you would like to leave your name and email address, you will be on the list to receive the monthly newsletters, weekly announcements about the upcoming Sunday service, and occasional reminders and special notices. If you have been attending and aren't getting notices, put your name down again. You can unsubscribe at any time. Also, we are encouraging everyone to start wearing name tags again since we have had several newer people attending. We have several ongoing activities via Zoom. They are listed in your order of service with login information, and you are welcome to take it with you when you leave. They include book study on radical forgiveness Sunday evening, Course in Miracles Wednesday evening, and Pathlighters on Thursday evening. You can also find info and links on our Facebook page, unityofbernie.org. Now we will have the daily word read by Marlon Brown.
The daily word is grace. With joy and gratitude, I welcome grace. The guiding, healing, harmonizing presence and power of God is everywhere present. Divine grace is mine whenever I say yes to this presence within me. I release any thought that I am unworthy of grace. Nothing I could do or fail to do would ever disturb my divine identity. Grace need not be earned, nor can it be bought. It is inexhaustible. No matter how much comes my way, I can relax in complete trust that even more will be available when I need it. Grace doesn't happen to me. It expresses through me. Just as I have been blessed to receive grace when I have needed it, I am honored to be the conduit through which it flows to someone else, blessing them in a time of need. And the scripture, yes, everything is for your sake, so that grace, as it extends to more and more people, may increase thanksgiving to the glory of God. That's from 2 Corinthians 4, verse 15.
Please stand for the miracle moment, number 53, sevenfold affirmation. I am a child of the living God. I am within me the all-creating power of the Christ. It radiates from me and blesses all whom I contact. It is my life, my strength, my courage, my patience, my peace, my poise, my power, my wisdom, my understanding, my joy, my inspiration, and my abundant supply. Unto this great power I entrust all my problems, knowing they will be solved in love and justice. O Lord Christ, I have laid all my desires upon thy altar, and I rest in thy graciousness. Please remain standing for the celebration song number 89, In the Garden.
To the garden alone, while the dew the roses and the voice I hear falling on my ear, and the Son of God is closing, and He walks with me, and He talks with me, and He tells me I am His own. And the joy we share as we tarry there, no other has ever known. He speaks in the sound of His voice, is so sweet. with me. He tells me I am his own, and the joy we share every day, no other has ever known. In the garden with him, feel the night around me is gone. Let me go to the words of the world, and the voice is calling. And he walked with me, and he talked with me, and he tells me I am his own, and the joy we share as we carry there, no other has ever known. And the joy we share as we tarry there, no other has ever known.
Please remain standing for the opening prayer. Unity of Burning is a vibrant, loving, spiritual community, providing a sacred space for personal growth. We honor and celebrate the Christ within all people. Thank you. Please be seated. I will now turn it over to Reverend Jay for the blessing of the prayer request and the remainder of the service.
Thank you, Kathy. Good morning and welcome to Unity of Bernie. It's wonderful to be with you as always. And Pathlighters and those of you who tuned in online, welcome. We're glad you're with us and we hope you're blessed today. This is the time in our service where we bring our attitudes to remember who we are through the act of prayer. To me, there is no idle thoughts. They're all forms of prayers. We have some bigger and some smaller, but we are praying constantly. And in this venue today, right here with like-minded people that I know are filled with loving, wonderful intentions, we bring that to bear on the requests that we hold before infinite presence. If you haven't written down your prayer request, I want to give you time to do that and place it in the box. So you have this time before the prayer box is brought up. I would like for us to hold in prayer a situation in our nation right now that seems to be a place we've never been. And we know that people of good hearts and those that have divine intentions are the ones that make things manifest. We want to hold a thought for healing a great divide that is hurting everyone. So we hold that in our minds this morning, knowing that we are the answer to that prayer by how we think and how we act. Sure. Infinite loving presence, you're the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. You're the very ground of how we live and move and have our being. You know the intentions of our hearts, even if we haven't written them down. You know what we feel inside, what's important to us, what we bring to you right now. For understanding, for clarity, for insight, for wisdom, most of all, compassion and kindness. In this box are representative of all human emotions from despair to joy and all gradations in between. We affirm that you are with these dear ones right now and that you give freely of your inspiration, your love. Help these folks realize that presence in their lives that makes every decision the right decision. We affirm that they are guided and that they know the next steps they have to take because they have listened to the presence within them, which you make and give in abundance. We know we are the answer to our prayers. You supply the inspiration, and we act out the truth of our being right now. And so it is. Amen.
You've noticed probably that today's message is about being in the flow, and it caused me to think when I was a child and there was this popular phrase, lead, follow, or get out of the way. And I thought that was really a good thing. I grew up and I said, no, that's being held back and forcing out my intentions to either lead or follow or get out of the way. And I thought, that's not productive. When we're together, like in this group, we do things together, we get a lot accomplished. And everybody is virtually a leader. And so in your own spirit, in your own heart, you connect with that spirit that is innate to all of us. You'll be in the heart of the feeling. So while there, take time to let love grow. I'm in the heart of the feeling I simply cannot describe to you. I'm in the soul of the meaning. I feel the joy flowing all through and through. I'm one in the love. I know it's true. I'm in the middle of a beautiful dream. We're given the chance and anything can be real. I'll show you the way. Watch me when I say do everything that you do with that zeal and live in the love. And just be free. Let love grow. It's the only thing that'll bring us through. Feel alive in the heart of the feeling, soul of the meaning. It's there for you. You know it's true. I'm in the middle of the center of the universe. Whenever I hold myself in you, I love her bright as the pure sunlight. I know it is you who gives the light to the moon to shine on my way in darkness too. Let it all go. It's the only thing that'll bring us through. Feel your light in the heart of the feeling, the soul of the meaning. It's there for you, like it's there for me. It's there for me, like it's there for you. I know it's true. I know you know it too. Thank you. Thank you. apologize for that. I had to turn off the phone, and I'm still not used to the change in the order of service, I guess. And so, got myself turned around, didn't I? In the midst of his children, said he would be. Doesn't take very many. It can be just 2 or 3, and I feel the same sweet spirit that I felt oft times before. Surely I can say I've been with the Lord. Surely the presence of the Lord is in His place. I can feel His mighty power and His grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on His face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in His place.
Thank you, Tom. Right now, I invite you to visit that place that is yours to visit in your own heart, in your own mind, in your soul. It's a place that we go in meditation, that we properly know as a place where the Almighty presides. It's the real of you, it's the truth of you, it's the foundation of your being. Right now, we take a few deep breaths. We're centered and aware. We know that our feet are on the floor here. We know our hands are perhaps in our laps. And there's an awareness of this moment as one that's never been lived before. It's a fresh, new, vital moment. And in this moment, we're going to bring our highest and best energy to the problems, situations, and difficulties that we accumulate in our life. As we inhale, we inspire. And when we exhale, we release. So we breathe in spirit. And we breathe out, we exhale. Any of the things, we see them coming out of us with each exhalation we take. And we recognize not only this moment is new, but there is a presence within us that is always there, that is there for guidance, and most of all, love. And this morning, those things that we have held against ourselves or others are vanquished in the eternal love that we are. We know that the difficult things that we may be going through are just that, things we're going through that will pass. We remember the solid truth upon which we stand. We represent the image of the Creator who was well pleased with its creation. We're aware of a healing flow right now. And we take liberally of it, whether it's for our minds, our bodies, our emotions, our memories, the events of the world, the events in our personal world. We feel gracious right now. We feel thanks for this time of remembrance, of bringing the disparate parts of ourselves together into the whole that we are, knowing that the judgment occurred from us, not from the love that made us. We forgive ourselves for that. We stand in the integrity of truth. We're profoundly relaxed. We are confident. We feel good in this moment. We declare our readiness to grow and be more than we were, being all that we are. We're ready to release the limiting ideas of separation and guilt and fear in exchange for love, compassion, acceptance, understanding, and most of all, the realization, a fundamental realization of who we are. We exchange our opinion for the divine opinion. We embody the promise. We are the light of the world. We accept who we are. We release limitation. And we're ready to grow. And we declare inside and together, it is so. Amen. Thank you, Tom. So for this morning, I decided to talk about being in the flow. We hear a lot about that. We talk about people that we see perhaps on TV, entertainers, speakers, whatever it may be, when they're really going, what we say they're going well and it's feeling good, we say they're in the flow. They're moving in almost effortlessly through what they're doing because they are possessed of what they're doing. They love what they're doing. And I want to ask you this morning, do you love what you're doing to yourself? Do you love the way you're living? Are there things that you can let go of? Do you think it's an insurmountable situation, or do you understand it's a decision that is the genesis of the change that begins? It all begins right here. There's nothing to set right out there right now. When you see rightly in here, the out there begins to take care of itself. We all know that there is a lapse of time with that sometimes too, but we have to embody the change we wish to see. We have to be the change we wish to see. And we come to places like this to remember our divinity and our ability to shape our own destiny. You know, it's not foreordained in many ways. It is for us to discover. And when we're in the flow of life, when, as Eric Butterworth says, when we remember that we are an eachness in the allness, it becomes a little bit easier to understand that we are crafting and co-creating our own destinies with the Almighty, with the infinite presence, whatever name we tend to give this. Some people are what's called triggered by ecclesiastical words like God and church and things like this. They have been oftentimes abused by hearing about the idea of sinners in the hands of an angry God. And if you're in unity, you know that we don't talk like that. We talk about original blessing. Many folks talk about original sin. The original blessing is the fact that we proceed from the great I am. And I might mention that any time that you use the words I am, be careful what you say afterwards, because that crafts who you are. I was a long time fan of saying that I am no good at math. And if you've come to this church for any number of times or length of time, you'll know that was my stumbling block, until I entered a business where my commissions were generated by what I sold, and I became very proficient very quickly in multiplication. I learned percentages quickly because what I was going to make was a percentage of what I sold. It wasn't me that was bad at math, it was me that just didn't like it. And when I went through psychological evaluations for ministry, I even brought it up. I said, I really want to know, am I bad at math or not? And he threw a little test in there during that evaluation, and I didn't even know it was having to do with mathematics, but when I finished, he said, no, you're not bad at math, you just don't like it. And there are going to be times that we have to do things in life that we don't particularly like. But if we're in the flow of our beingness, which is the constant creativity that's given to us, we call it from on high. I call it just the ground of being that we're born with. If we bring that to bear on what's in front of us, we begin to change not only ourselves, but other people. Have you ever seen one person whose presence in a room tended to harmonize those that were perhaps upset or in a heated argument? Somebody walks in, and with me, it was my father. He had a presence about him, and you really couldn't stay upset with his countenance. It was just he didn't have any part of it, and I didn't want to have any part of it because of that. We know people who bring forth the best in us, and there have been other people through the years in ministry and who churches where I've spoken, and I've seen ministers that have that ability. It is a harmonizing influence. They are radiating the God presence within them. And I want to be able to tell you today that you can do that by being in the flow. The flow that, as I've said, wakes you up and digests your food and does a million things of which you're not conscious. You can tap into that by a few simple things that you can do right now, even right here and today. All you have to do is say to the smaller self, the self with a small s, you want that out of the way so that the big self can come through. The great singer Enrico Caruso was wonderfully talented, but he had a terrible sense of stage fright. And one time, he decided that he just couldn't take this anymore. And before one of his wonderful performances, he stood in front of a mirror and he said, little me, get out of the way. I want my big me to come forth, my big self to come forth right now. And he went out and he nailed it. He did it by talking to himself. He did it by making a new decision about himself. He did it by realizing that the row of buttons that he has inside his mind, and we all have them, were in large part and most always pushed by himself. Do you realize that we say other people push our buttons, and that's not true? We push our buttons. We decide what's going to upset us, anger us, make us happy. The responsibility is on us. Any good teacher, any good minister will tell you that you are in great measure the cause of your destiny. The cause certainly of how you feel every day. But we let people and things and events get in the way, and we say they did it. It's their fault, not mine. We're pushing our own buttons. Today, I say, let's get rid of buttons, period. Let's be open to the moment, attached to nothing, and open to everything. That doesn't mean being mindless. That doesn't mean walking around, as Ken Wapnick said, as bliss ninnies with our heads in the clouds. It means meeting a moment, fresh and new, right where it is, with a determination, or I should say, with a desire to be more than we are, to walk forward in the new life that the Master promised us. All the great teachers talked about flow and being in the stillness, being in the silence. Carlyle, the poet, said, silence is the element of which great things fashion themselves. I don't know about you, but I've never been able to really be creative. There's a bunch of loud things going on around me and people talking and conflicting ideas coming back and forth. I need to get away from what's going on and listen to my internal self with a capital S. You have that too. You have the ability this morning to see life in a whole new direction, a whole new way, and walk in a new direction. You are the choice maker. That scares the you-know-what out of some people. Some people would like anything else to be in charge of them. Presidents, politicians, mothers-in-laws, fathers-in-laws, sisters, brothers, teachers, on and on it goes. They did it. They're the ones that are the cause of the way I am. I'm here to gently remind you this morning that ultimately you are the cause of the way you are. And it's done by the way you think. And it's so subtle because there are so many things outside of us right now that we say, that really gets me upset. That made me feel bad. You know the truth? You made you feel bad. You, by what you told yourself about what should be happening, instead of blessing what was happening and seeing it differently, you told yourself something that conflicted with reality. And I've said, acceptance is not approval or the desire for something to be that way. Acceptance is just simply saying, that's the way it is, and this is where I come to meet this problem on this level. Being in the flow largely has to do with being inside yourself. And we've heard it said, well, they're too much inside themselves. And that's not what I'm talking about this morning. I'm talking about monitoring, a vigilance about what you allow yourself to think about. What you think about grows. And eventually what you think about, you bring about. And if it persists, we call it a complex. And then we pay a lot of money to doctors and all these workers in the healthcare field to get rid of what we call complexes and upsets that we put there ourselves. Now, I'm not talking badly about therapists and all these wonderful people who are in the helping professions, but I'm saying in large measure, we look at life and we decide how it's going to be on the basis of bringing all of our past to bear on the present. We don't see the present as it is. We see it as we are so many times. We see it through the lens of the judgments we've made over and over and over in the past. Of course, we're not going to feel life is new. We're dragging a wagon full of the past with us. We're trying to superimpose something that happened years and years ago, or perhaps a month ago or a week ago. We're trying to superimpose that on a moment that is new and fresh and now. Being in the flow means that I can remove myself as much as I can, my ideas, my judgments, my opinions about what should be, and accept what is. Move your opinions and your judgments about who you are right now today, if they're less than serving you correct the way you want, move that aside and allow your big self to come through like Caruso did. You can say, little self, sit down, be quiet. I want my big self to come through. There are people who, when they're called to get up and speak, there's butterflies in their stomach, there's sweats, there's knee shakings and all these kind of things. I remember when I first started speaking, and it was years ago, I felt a little of that. It seemed like when I would stand up, my mouth would sit down. But it was through a great teacher, a wonderful, wonderful teacher, and I've bragged on him before, Jack Boland, who literally almost literally took his foot and kicked me out on the stage and said, get out there and do your thing. And all of a sudden it flowed, and things began to come out of me that I had loved studying before. And not only did he do that, he told me I was going to be a minister one day. And I said, no, I'm not. And he said, will you let me believe it for you? And I said, knock yourself out. And look, behold, the power of belief, the power of holding the best vision of someone. Jack Boland did not focus on what I said I couldn't do. Jack was the mentor I'm talking about. He didn't focus on what I said I couldn't do or even didn't want to do. He saw a vision of me as I could be. And he held me up before the light of truth and said to Spirit, have your way with Jay. He did that with many people, and they rose to the occasion. And this morning I want to be able to give some of that give back, to tell you that I see you in the way that you want to be, so long as you're seeing yourself as a bigger version than you were prior to this morning. What holds you back from being in the flow in your own life? What is it this morning that you need to give up, that you need to trade, that you need to forgive, that you need to speak to be all that you want to be? It's not difficult. It all begins with a thought. Now, there are things we're going to have to walk through, because this thing called life has challenges inherent in it. Otherwise, if it wasn't that way, how would we grow? Weightlifters know, and people that exercise know, that resistance, and please understand, I'm not talking about the non-resistance that Jesus talked about. I'm talking about personal physical resistance to weights, the exercise we do. That forms power and muscle and good health. We know that the problems that we see in front of us so many times can be our greatest teachers. And they can not only help us in the moment, but later on we'll meet somebody else who's going through the same thing, and we realize, I went through that in one way to be able to help this person who's in front of me right now. We all are brothers and sisters more than we want to admit. We have more in common than we have that separates us. Those that want to separate us, those that want to divide us for their own purposes, whether it be political or social or in a family, whatever, those who want to divide us have agendas. And I'd like to see the world, and I know you'd like to see the world without agendizing it, with it seeing it new. How would it feel to walk out of the building this morning and see life in a whole new way than you ever have before? You can do that. You can do that by making a decision that you're going to release those things that you know down deep hurt and keep you from being who you are. Again, is it an opinion from somebody about you? Is it something that you did that you feel is unforgivable? Is it something that someone else did that you feel is unforgivable? Is it just the world that you feel is unforgivable? In general, do you say life's a you know what and then you die? There's a bumper sticker that was popular, and I see it every now and then still on the car. I can't imagine feeling that way. You're going through your life and you say it's and then it's over with. Life is a gift. Life is a training ground. Life is for you to go on and expand. When this earthly life is over with, I believe, and Scripture says, and the great teachers say, that we move on into realms of being where we expand even more. I don't know about you, but the idea of sitting on a cloud and playing a harp would bore me. It bored me the first time I ever heard it. I want challenges. I want to be able to be more than what I was yesterday. And I want to be more after this life is over with than I was in this life. I want to walk the staircase that the great architect of the universe has built. We know that. Evolution is proof of it. Look around you. Look what we came from. Look where we are. And look where we're going. Some people are scared of it. Some people are interested in it. But all of us agree that we're going somewhere. It's just that we're the ones, in large part, that decide where we're going. And we want to blame outside things. We want to blame fate. We want to blame karma. We want to blame cause and effect. Anything else but taking responsibility. We are the ones, we are the only ones that are charged with the ability to create. And we create our destiny by the way we think. And being in the flow means dropping that box or that row of buttons you have in your mind that get pushed. And deciding that you're not triggered by anything except what you want to be triggered by. Now, I'm not saying that you deny a disability in your emotions or something that you need help with. Not at all. I'm saying that you give up that personal sense of offense. So many people love to be offended. They can build an idea of themselves around being offended. I remember I had a great aunt. I loved her dearly, but she'd look at the television, usually 1 or 2 channels only, and she would sit there all day and become offended. And then tell me or anybody else had misfortune to hear it, what was offending her. And she was offended constantly. And she would tell anybody within earshot of her offenses. It got to the point where a lot of people wanted to walk away from a really sweet lady that just had a bad habit. But then I've seen others that have looked at the world and said it doesn't have to be this way. And I know that if I want to see a different world, I need to see a different me. It really does begin with individuals. There's no way that we can go out and corral a whole group of people this morning and say you're going to think a certain way. But we can corral those parts inside us, those hurts inside us, those things inside us that run us. We can corral those and say, come into the integrity of being. I want to be in the flow of this thing called life. I want to walk in a different way. I want to feel different things. I want to experience life and love and divinity in a whole new way. As I said, you're going to have to exchange a limited idea of yourself for the truth of who you are. What do you think our master saw when people were in front of him? He saw the face of God in every person that crossed his path. And everybody that crossed our master's path was better for having been in his presence. Are people better for being in your presence this morning? Are situations better because you have brought your ideas to bear? Your unique gift, your love. See, love, that's the foundation. That's the warp and the woof of what we're about. I know it sounds hackneyed. I know that it's a term that seems to be overused, but folks, love is really the binding. It's the binding agent of what keeps us together. We're all in this human experience together. Why don't we, if we can't reach out physically, we can reach out emotionally. Why not hold the hands of those who are walking beside us and say, I may not understand what you've been through. I may not have gone through the same thing, but I'm willing to realize that we're so much more alike than we are different. We call strangers. We say that people are strangers. It may sound corny, but I like to say that strangers are friends I haven't met yet. I like to reach out to people that I don't know. I love characters. We all know characters. You know, they're the fun of life. Everybody is a character in their own way. Everybody has an eccentricity or something that's fun. They love to talk about it, or they have a particular viewpoint. We can seek for areas of commonality. It doesn't have to be in a, quote, holy way that we come up and say, I'm going to witness to you about my religion. No, I'm going to come up and show you about the decision I've made to accept myself and you. That's the witness we want to see. That's the sermon that works. You can say a lot of words, and there's a place for that, but the living out of that every day is what brings us the gift. Your life is a gift. You are a gift. You are here to unwrap this thing called life. You can tell that Ernest Holmes made a big impression on me because I talk about his book. I'm saying the title so much, This Thing Called Life. But that's what it is. What would you call it if not that? It's the stuff that we're walking through right now. So I encourage you to do a couple of things this morning. To get that small self out of the way. Get a higher and bigger and better opinion of who you are. Remember the things in your life that you've overcome. We all have some. Remember the things in your life that you've done well. Remember the words that have been spoken over your life by people who loved you. Listen to that inner voice. It's there. It's on your memory reel. That's one thing you can do. The second thing you can do is forgive yourself for being less than what you thought you should be. And remember, you really thought you were doing the right thing at the time. Let yourself off the hook. And even if you said, I'm not doing the right thing at the time, I want it to be this way, and you feel guilt about it, forgive yourself for that too. That willfulness is really just determination. You see, every negative quality that you think you embody can be changed into a divine quality, because negative qualities are the counterfeits of divinity. Willfulness, if you flip the coin over, determination. Think about that. Think about the same energy that's used to decide and make an opinion about yourself that's negative is the same energy that you can use to change your mind about who you are. The divine creation is there for you to make use of according to how you appropriate it. I see each one of you appropriating it wonderfully and in a new way this morning. And those of you online, I know how you've grown, and I've seen and heard from each of you, as I've said, halfway around the world. Be in the flow this morning. Be in your flow. Understand what moves you. Understand what gives you a wonderful feeling in your stomach. Not the butterflies or the upsets, but you know, that contentment, that feeling like I'm on purpose, I'm doing right. Find that. Go do that. Be that. Bless us all. You'll do that. You'll bless us all, and then our collective boats will raise on the water of love. Is that corny? I think it happens to be true. You know, words are twice removed from reality, the Course in Miracles says. They're 2 steps away from what we really want to say. What I'm really trying to say to you this morning, love extravagantly, live boldly, forgive unconditionally, and give yourself the greatest gift you can, the gift of who you are and who you're meant to be. God bless each and every one of you. And now we come to that moment in our service that we're blessed to be able to give as we've received, and we've all received. And I would like to take a real quick moment to explain something about our Facebook page and our donations. If you're watching online right now and you're at the Unity of Bernie Facebook page, there is a link in blue that says unityofbernie.org. If you would like to donate, you press that link and it will take you to our web page, at which you will scroll to the bottom and see a donate button. You press the donate button and it goes right into PayPal. There's a few little things to overcome yet that we're working with, but you can make the donations simply through the hyperlink, and then it takes you to our webpage, and then the donate button is at the bottom of that page. Or if you prefer, you can send it by mail to our Address Unity of Bernie, P.O. Box 1973, Bernie, Texas 78006. Again, that's Unity of Bernie, P.O. Box 1973, Bernie, Texas. Oh, excuse me. Unity of Bernie, P.O. Box 1973, Bernie, Texas. Yeah, I had it right. 78006. Bless you for your giving. Thank you for supporting this wonderful ministry. Thank you, Zach. And now give the best gift of which you're able, knowing that it comes back to you. With hearts full of gratitude and the flow of divine love that we are right now, we say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I send it forth with my blessings and my love. God bless you, and now may the Almighty presence bless you and keep you, and make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And you're going out and you're coming in and you're lying down and you're rising up and your labor and your leisure until that wonderful time you realize the oneness of who you are and always were. God bless you.
Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
Wait on it.
Let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, and we all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Together we say in the light
God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Namaste.
Quick announcement. I want to let everybody know that Zach put in the application for membership.
Let's think about that.
Very nice young man. If you don't know him, take time to talk to him. You'll like him.
Attaboy, Zach.
Yeah.
whoever you are. Oh, outstanding.
How are you? I am always better at this time on Sunday mornings. Always. Wow.
Well, thank you very much for joining us again today. That was fun. And so thanks so much for being with us. You know, you're always invited to come out and spend time right here at the sanctuary. We were a little fuller than average today, but we still had room. And there's always room for you. So please think about coming and spending some time with us. And if you can't come out in person, by all means understand that we feel you. We feel you when you are online and you are joining us. It's almost the same as being here. But we know that there's a little edge on that, a little more of that positive feeling when you're here in the sanctuary. We'd love to be able to have a chance to give that to you as well. In the meantime, out here in Boerne, Texas, on the Scenic Loop Road, we'll be looking forward to our next the junction of our next path crossing, and so have a most fulfilling week, as I like to say, and know that here in the house that Love built, you are loved, and you are loved. Have a great week. Bye-bye.